reconvene with the meeting. At this time, we're going to ask for roll call.
Misty Nuttle,
Here.
Jordan Canuho,
Here.
George Gardapi here, Carol Chapman,
Here.
Cynthia Butler,
Here.
Donna Hare,
Titaku.
Gene Evans, Sammy Kimball.
Here.
We have a quorum. Next item is the approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections, deletions, insertions?
I do have one change on number 4, approval of minutes. We're going to remove that. And those are the only changes I have.
Okay, do we have a motion to, sorry, I kind of pre-jumped again. Any other comments? We good? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of the number 4? And go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve it with the changes.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Vice President Canuho, second by Ms. Butler. And also just to note, the approval or the minutes are actually for the month of May, I believe is where we're at, so there are no outstanding minutes for the first quarter. Any other discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, next item we have is Pawnee Business Council President Report. And we had checked to see if the former President Echohawk wanted to submit a report, and I don't believe that we received anything. At this time, I'm just going to make a small few remarks. I want to, of course, thank everybody for attending today. At the end of the quarter, I know that President Echohawk was working with myself, and we entered into a transition period. He was able to come in and kind of give me a little bit of oversight on things that were happening at the nation, and provide some insight and on some litigation matters and some kind of initiatives that he was spearheading. And that, working with the Attorney General, I was forwarded, the current opinions that he had written. So all of those, have been being reviewed. We reviewed boards, commissions, and committees, the current activities that they have, projects in development, and then discussion on the membership. And so we'll be looking at, the active membership of these boards, commissions, and committees, bringing it forward to PBC to determine, how they want to proceed with regards to, like I said, if they're currently engaging in a project, or if it's something, that can be reassigned, or the committee is defunct. So jumped on board with existing projects and developments, reviewing contracts that are needing to be approved and in place, being able to provide feedback and input. So I've just been working with the ED to collaborate on a lot of tackling identified administrative issues, and it's kind of been beneficial coming from the employee side and being able to, step into the PVC role and not only identifying issues, but, kind of providing a little feedback to the ED on how we can better fulfill, I guess, the supervisory role, and things that myself as an employee have experienced, things that are maybe needing to be addressed at the nation. So I think that's kind of been a really good collaboration that's ongoing. Reviewing regulations, legislation to make sure that we get the best negotiated contract terms. Before even engaging in a lot of the contracts, we have to review the regulations and the laws that govern, those specific programs. We're engaging on a lot of new developments that, the nation has never been in before. And so in entering these industries, we have to go back and review not only, the regs, but any kind of impending legislation that's coming down the pike. So we're aware of the issues and try to address them prior to us engaging in what am I trying to say? Engaging and committing ourselves to these terms. If we have things that are evolving right now, then we don't want to set ourselves in some terms that are going to go against that, or where it's not going to be in the best interest of us and our people in the future. So there's a lot and a ton of reading coming our way. So I hope that everybody engages in that. And I just would make a suggestion, from what I've seen, is that we have, more communication from PBC members, and I'm talking more specifically with like our committee meetings. If, you're going to be in attendance, if you're not, just sending an email, hey, I'm not going to be here today. That way we're not sitting there wasting time on meetings to try to, see if we're going to have a quorum or not. I would like to see, more feedback from the council members. It's easier for staff to run programs if they have, any type of feedback, whether it's, constructive feedback or whether it's positivity. It just kind of assists in project development and makes them a little bit more vested. Volunteerism to address the tasks that are identified in the committee. It can't solely just be on the support staff. I know that they're assigned to the committees. However, some of our staff are assigned to multi-committees. So if we can just kind of assist in doing that and all work together, I mean, it would assist everybody. And just looking forward to the next quarter and seeing what we can do for our nation. Okay, next item that we have on the agenda is the Pawnee Business Council Committee reports. Let's see first. I believe we have the enrollment committee is online. And am I correct? Did we only receive 2 committee reports? And is that, okay, so I have 2 in my packet that was sent electronic, but is there some more on that SharePoint site? Is that where the rest of them are? Okay, if so, that's the clarification. Okay, I don't have a committee listing, so. A second. Okay, first committee we have is the Agriculture Committee. Is anybody?
Yeah, once again, on our ag committee, we did meet 3 times this past, from our first quarter. Sorry, and what we've been discussing still is Chief's Garden that Randy Lifford has taken the reins on, and they are planting those tobacco strains for ceremonial purposes, and we have been working on the agricultural resource management plan that we keep discussing, and we are going to be scheduling a meeting with the council informally to discuss this before we move it forward and vote on it. So that's gonna be coming up within the next couple of weeks. I've been talking to Sunny, and she's gonna schedule that with everybody here. And that's the main thing we've been working on. I know we've submitted a grant application to help with our division, our ag division, because it's currently unfunded. So we're still looking to secure funds for that. But right now, that is all the, and we do have all the information on our cattle program. I believe that's online, and I know Jennifer's good at updating us on all the numbers there. But as far as that committee goes, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Secretary Gardapi. The next committee we have is Budget Finance Committee.
Okay, too short, pull it right up. Okay, what we've been doing is we've been having a lot of budget meetings, and we're currently updating the 2023 budgets and working already on the 2024 budgets, getting ahead with the audits. We have our regular budget meetings for operations, daily operations of the tribe. We are currently started meeting with all of the program directors on their budgets and keeping them all on the same page and reviewing budgets as we go along monthly to make sure that their funding is being spent, so there's no carryover. We started meeting, and we've just had one or two meetings, but we will be going pretty heavy now, but we've already had many meetings on self-governance budgeting. We've been approved for self-governance, and we have been meeting to prepare for that. I think all the council's scheduled to go to the self-governance meeting later this month, but we have been meeting, preparing to get a budget ready to create the Office of Self-Governance, which will be placed on the organizational chart. We're looking at that. We're looking at the budgets, how to learn the regs, how to train the people, what staff we're going to be looking at, and just the overall financial needs of going into self-governance. So we've had the council will be learning all this since we're going into it full time. So, and that's real exciting that we're getting to do that now. And I want to thank all the people before us who put all those stepstones in place for us to reach that. The other thing that is financial is the behavioral health work groups. We've been meeting with them and continually getting ready. We have been receiving the reports on what grants are being funded, how the loans are processing, and everything is coming right along with that. There are 2 meetings a week on that, so we're getting close to the finishing that out for startup and for groundbreaking. So the main thing is we've just had lots and lots of meetings. That's my report.
Thank you, Treasurer Troutman. Next committee we have is the Cemetery Committee.
Our cemetery committee is continuing to work on the policies and processes for our cemeteries throughout the nation. We are working diligently and looking forward to having them in place to bring to council within the next month. One of the things that we have been concerned about are the unmarked graves, and working with the Otos now. They have a monument business now, and Matt Reed is working to get some pricing to get some small markers for those unmarked graves. I think it's going to be a real advantage also to the Pawnee Nation, to members actually, to do business with the Otos. I'm thinking that, native-owned and probably a price break anyways. Also, we're working on establishing some type of thought to put together a mausoleum at the North Cemetery for those individuals that choose to cremate and then be placed there. That's in the works as well. Aside from that, it's just been a working group, and we've been working diligently. And I'm really happy that we've established a standard meeting date, in that it allows everybody to have a plan, to know that we're having that meeting that day. And so I've noticed that I've had more, actually 100% participation. So that is that. Thank you.
Next committee we have is Communications and IT Committee.
Yes, that committee actually is defunct. It was requested by the executive office to put that into the defunct area, because they are wanting to manage IT within the executive office, and rightly so. The reason why we had it to begin with was because we had to rebuild and redevelop our IT infrastructure. And so it was nice at that moment to have people with that type of expertise to sit down at the table and decide exactly what we needed to do. And in that piece, it was decided, because we had a lack of interest in employment within IT because of our rural locality, that it was difficult to recruit. So that is precisely why we business partnered with J.D. Young to do the heavy lifting for us, and that is going on today. I myself, coming from an IT background, have been working with the court system and our AG, Mr. Chad Smith, and they're doing some codification work on the back end. And what we're trying to do is, and we are going to do, is we're developing a search engine that will be on our webpage, to be able to go in and pull down laws, pull down court cases, pull down resolutions, etc. So that's in the works right now. We're building the model for that, and we're waiting on J.D. Young to respond with their quote. Thank you very much. And that'll be funded, by the way. We've already got allocations for funding for that project from 3 different programs. Thank
Yes, that'll be exciting to be able to have that circular reference area for all those documents. Cultural Resource Advisory Committee. Division, okay, I'm told that's what the division report. Education Committee. Does that have?
We have not had any meetings lately, and it will no longer in the future be a committee.
And just to clarify on that, because I also served on the Education Committee, the program director had written out Education Committee, and I believe at one point it was actually the Scholarship Committee was the purpose of that. But that's been written into her handbook, that it's reviewed independently within the program. The next committee we have is the Enrollment Committee.
Yeah, that's me. So we did meet this past that quarter, and we entered 9 dates of death and added 5 new members. And our next meeting will be next Wednesday, June 7th. So that's all we have.
Okay. All right, moving on to Governing Documents Committee.
The Government Documents Committee met on, we actually had one official meeting. We did a lot of our committee work via email. We did have a couple of conference calls, but most of the things that we did for this quarter was we did the planning for the Constitution Convention. The Constitution Convention did meet 4 times for the quarter on January 7th and 28th, and then February 11th and 25th. I will get my report submitted and put on the governing documents page, and so that the tribal membership can see that. So we'll get that updated with this week. But I did update the members of the convention. It has the listing of their names, and then also added the minutes for the convention meetings. And then down at near the bottom of the report, I also added the articles that had been worked on during this quarter, and some of the proposed revisions that are going to be proposed to the membership. They worked on the Article 5, duties of the officers, and I think that they submitted that to the convention floor, which will be reported in the next quarterly meeting. Article 6, vacancies, which I don't think anything was suggested for revisions. I think they left that one alone. Article 9, courts, there were some small revisions there. And then Article 11, 2 amendments. Other than that, their next meeting is coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll be getting out more information on that and updating the convention website, and letting everybody know about that meeting. Governing documents also will be getting ready to send out their scholarship information for fall of 2023. We wanted to get that out early, so I think we'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. And we will be revising to get applicants for this one. We haven't got any applicants for it, and I think it's pretty easy to just apply for it, but I don't think that people realize that it's just, it's there, and we're raising the money. This committee is actually doing their own fundraising and making their own donations to the scholarship fund, so that's coming from the committee themselves, and so we'll be continuing to do that. I think we have about $600 or $700 there for the scholarship. And then we are continuing to work on the codification for the law and order codes. There were a couple of documents that were not put into Word documents, and so the staff has been trying to get that. I guess they hired a WEX worker to do that and to make it into a Word document, because all that was found in the executive office were were the PDFs. And it was hard for them to switch it over, change it over, and convert it, and so it was messing every documents up, and so then you had to go back and do editing, all of that, so they were just retyping it. And I think that they're almost done with that, and then we're going to get that to the Attorney General, and then the completion of the codification on our part is going to be just to assign titles to our existing laws and putting them into the law and order codes. So that's all that we're going to be doing. I know that there is the work group, and I know that there was some confusion with what the work group is doing with the law and order codes, but they're going to be more or less actually indexing the codes and revising the codes. Governing documents is not going to be doing that. We're just doing the assigning of the titles. That way we have all of our laws in one place, and they're easy for them to go in and do the searchable things that they're doing and that they're planning. And that's all that we've been doing, and we will just continue on. Well, if I'm on the governing documents, we'll just continue on with the Constitution Convention stuff.
Thank you, Councilman Butler. Our next committee report we have is the Intergovernmental Affairs. Okay.
Noah.
Noah.
So, with the Intergovernmental Affairs, we met twice during this quarter. We met on January 10th and March 14th. We did not have a quorum for our meeting in February, which was on Valentine's Day. So we'll know not to schedule it on that date anymore. And kind of knew not to in the first place. Should have known not to in the first place. But anyway, so we have been meeting. I mean, we met during that time, and President Echohawk had apprised us, the committee, that he had attended Governor Stent's inauguration along with the Vice President, and relayed to us that he told the governor in a phone conversation that he wanted to have state-tribal relations and agreements, and that when and then he told the committee that he wanted us to get our ducks in line, and then a meeting would be scheduled with the governor. So on our activities, we continued to work with the EPA litigation and leading 16 tribes, against the Midnight Rider that Senator Inhofe put on the safety bill in, I believe it was 2005. And so we haven't, the progress was slow there. We weren't hearing anything in the early part, really most of the quarter, but towards the end then there was movement that had began, and we don't have any final product yet, but we are still looking at, we're still engaged in that and hoping that we can resolve that. And this all has to do with treatment estate. Pawnee Nation was the last tribe that was approved to oversee our own water and air, and then that's when the Midnight Rider was put on it. And so no other tribes could apply. Next, we were looking at developing the infrastructure for our committee, but we haven't been able to do that. There aren't any funds available. And then we have worked on the external relationships, and we've had the county commissioners agreement in place for, since last year. And then we were moving forward with the city of Pawnee because we've been on a case-by-case basis with them. And I apologize. I have a extra word in my report there. It says case. It's mid-20, and I have an I in one or I. It shouldn't be there. So I apologize for that typo. And so it's still, we're still trying to find our common ground, I guess, with the city. I mean, trying to work out some of our differences and be able to work together. So let's see. Oh, and one last thing on our intergovernmental agreements is that President Echohawk had recommended in our last meeting that we look at expanding them to our agreements to include solar, economic development, broadband, and some of those areas. So we also have a scholarship of, we have funds of $600 for scholarship that we haven't had anybody apply for. So Cindy, I want to work with you on trying to get the word out there and get it publicized and get it with our education division so that somebody can receive the award. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hare. Cindy and Donna, are your applications currently open now? Are they open year-round, or is there a deadline?
Yes, there are deadlines, and they're on the website and on our committee pages as well. But I think governing documents is August 15th is the deadline, and we only do a fall scholarship. Princess Committee actually does fall and spring, and I think our Liquor Control Commission does fall and spring as well. But we'll be getting out an updated list on what scholarships are available and getting that to education for this next semester.
And I haven't checked on the status of ours, but I will.
Thank you. Okay, next committee report we have is Land and Property Management.
Okay, that's me again. So our Land and Property Committee, it is a long-standing committee, probably one of the first, that the Pawnee Nation has had. I know it's gone back over 30 years. And so the committee, we met every month, and we met a lot with the Pawnee Indian veterans throughout this quarter, and that they're, relocating the homecoming out to the tribal reserve. So they were in about every meeting. Pice was in about every meeting with us during the quarter. We also, it's going to be at Moe's, and we also have a request that has come in, and we'll have to look at it about taking the fence down. So we really need to look at, I think they requested that we take the fence down for the dance, so we really need to look at, use of the field, and, we'll need to look at that request carefully. We also have been talking, Keller Roaming Warrior has been coming to the property meetings, and he's wanting to request a space to put up a Veterans Memorial Wall. And so it's still in the planning stages, and the official request has not been made yet. So we've negotiated the lease with the Pawnee Seed Preservation Society during this time, and signed a memorandum of agreement. And then, as announced in council meetings previously, is that the $35 fee for COVID cleaning has been eliminated, but we're keeping a fee in place on the buildings for a deep cleaning. And I'm really excited for all of our tribal cooks, and thankful to our property management for the new stove that we have at the community building. And I think that from hearing from the cooks, we get, we find out a lot what's working and what's not. So I'm glad that we have that in there, and that we have another good kitchen to use, because a lot of people like using the community building. And so we have a lot of objectives in this one, and it's like developing the first one is to develop a comprehensive land use plan. That was really beyond our committee's ability to do that, and so there has been a proposal submitted to the council from Amy Wilson, who did our strategic infrastructure plan, and I think they're really kind of looking at taking, revising it or taking it down to where it's kind of expensive, so we need to look through and see what we can take out of it, and still have a really good plan. And say, I'll give you one example of what we take out of it. One is they're looking at a retreat somewhere, and like Mescalero, Apache, and I don't see this council going to Mescalero, and it would be nice, to see that, but we're not in the position to do that. And I think we're all really committed to do our planning locally. We don't really, our retreats, I don't think we require, going off anywhere. We just need the time, off to ourselves to do that. So, and then we've been, looking at I've been attending the infrastructure meetings with the staff. We developed, where we were part of the infrastructure master plan. And then part of our objectives or goal for this property committee is the cemetery, and so Sammy has taken on that, and so we appreciate, I appreciate her chairing that. And then one area we really haven't didn't get to work in, and really needs to be done, is looking at, helping our families with recover, restore, and manage, their allotments, keeping that land, in, especially as a lot of people are going more into agriculture. So also members of our committee have served on the oil and gas task force, but we haven't met for a few months on that, but there was no traveler training. We do also have a $200 scholarship in this for this committee, and I will get with Cynthia on that also, and try to make sure that we have that posted. And that concludes my report.
I have a question. Who's on the oil and gas task force, and
It is the superintendent, realty officer, realty staff, and then also Larry Goodfox was on there, and Lynette Wichita, Aaron Cash, and a representative from the Bureau of Land Management. And I can get you the names
All right,
to
thank you.
everybody. Mhm. And Sammy's on that too.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, lots of scholarships, people. Next committee we have is the Medical Advisory Committee.
Yes, Madam President. Medical Advisory Committee has not had a meeting this quarter, and really have not had a focus since our COVID issues have passed. Having said that, I think we need to reorganize, and I really feel like there's an area for growth for our government and our future in medical business. And I want to see us structure that and plan for where we can go. And I think this committee could be a great way to do that. But I do have to reorganize it.
Yes, especially with self-governance coming aboard. And yes, and behavioral health. Okay, our next committee report is the Planning Committee.
Yes, we've had 2 meetings in this last quarter here. First meeting was on February 27th. The Planning Committee met to discuss and review the BIA self-governance proposal that was presented to the committee. That proposal obviously went through, and it was good to hear here just recently that we were given that self-governance, and so that to me just shows the effectiveness also with the Planning Committee in reviewing these proposals. The second meeting was on March 9th, and that was to review a NAGPRA grant. Ms. Marty Only Chief, she presented to the committee, and she had a grant submission. Committee met and offered their suggestions and to help strengthen the proposal, and also to offer any kind of edits that might need to happen as well. Our committee meets on an as-need basis. We don't have certain set times or dates to meet. Just whenever we get a notification from our planning department that there's a grant submission coming up, we'll meet to discuss those opportunities and those grants. That's about all I have.
And we also met to discuss the travel management grant, which we also got word was approved as well. Next committee we have is the Princess Committee.
The Princess Committee, I'm going to read off who our committee is, because I'm really happy or really excited about working with these women, and I hope that they continue on doing the great work that they're doing with the mentorship and everything for the Pawnee Nation Princess and for our young ladies. I'm, of course, the chairperson. Tiffany Fritz is the vice chair. Lisa Goodday is the secretary. Reva Howell is the treasurer. And we have members Beverly Harjo, Vicki Leading Fox, and Jamie Nelson. These ladies are really good at getting out there and fundraising. Every time that we have something that comes up for the princess, we get that information out to the family, and they either let us know that they can attend or that they can't attend. We have other events that we try to do with the princess throughout the year of their reign. And these women are very good at communicating with her, getting her where she needs to go, and making sure that, everything, because they do work with her on the Lord's Prayer and on the Star Spangled Banner and sign language, because, that's just one of the things that people like for our princess to know and to learn, and they get opportunities such as last year was the rodeo. The last couple of years, I think, was the rodeo where they did the Star Spangled Banner, and then other events throughout the city of Pawnee, which is really awesome. And these ladies teach them that, stuff, and I don't know it, but I love watching them do it. I'm not as graceful as them, because they were princesses themselves. And I think that's awesome for them to be able to share what they learned as princesses and share them with our princesses that are coming up. The Princess Committee did meet on January 18th, 26th, February 15th and 21st, and March 9th and 29th. And the reason why we met so often was because we were getting ready for the process of the selection of the new princess, which was made at, I think, at the March 9th meeting. March 9th meeting. So our outgoing princess was Quinlan Spears, and she did a really good job in representing the Pawnee Nation. She was good, represented academically in her school activities. She represented us everywhere that she went, and I think she really enjoyed doing the work that she did, and we're really excited for her accomplishments, seeing those accomplishments here in the future. She's a really good young lady, and she has a lot of heart for her people, and she took on the platform of culture. So she worked with CRD, and I'm thankful for Mr. Adson for taking her in and allowing her to do a lot of things with the CRD program. She really enjoys doing that, and she learned a lot as well as she was doing it. Our new princess, Miss Karen Rice, we are in the process of getting her I think we already got her contract signed and getting her platform and learning what she wants to do and advocate for. So she's going to be looking at programs and everything to kind of get that. So then, because we tried to get them to do a platform so that they're advocating for something for the Pawnee Nation. So then that program can utilize them to do anything that they need her to do to represent them. So she's hit the ground running. She's attended a couple of dances. She's attended a couple of hand games, some other events that will be reported in this next quarter for the next quarterly meeting. And so we're excited to see what she's doing. She did graduate high school, so she is now a high school graduate. So we're excited about that. She's got some plans for college, and I don't recall what they are, but we'll get that to you guys. We're posting everything on the website. In my report, Ms. Quinlan did do some outgoing remarks, and so that's in the report. It's on the Princess Committee page. And she just thanks the Pawnee people for the opportunity. And then we also have the updated bio for Ms. Karen on the website as well, with a couple of pictures. So we'll be working with her and getting her to some other events and stuff. Also in the quarter, and I know that I've already reported on this, but it was in the first quarter, we did do 3 scholarships for the Princess Women Empowerment Scholarship. And they were awarded $300 to Miss Sarah Lamas Howell, Sky Seeing Leading Fox, and Montana Snell. And I do want to congratulate Miss Montana. She is a graduate of Oklahoma State University. I think she was graduated the graduating class after mine, so I didn't get to stay and see her graduate, but very excited for her. She's a great young lady, and I'm glad that we were able to award these scholarships to all 3 of these Pawnee women. They're going to do great things in their field of study, and we're really excited for them. And then we're also getting ready for our spring scholarship, so we'll be getting information out about that for the Princess Committee. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. The next committee we have is the Tuttaha Committee.
That's me. Thank you. This is really... Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our last meeting was on March the 1st. We've been kind of slow acting because we actually don't have a home for our Tuttaha right now. The land that was allocated to them, the 20 acres just out by Catholic Road, was refenced for cattle because that's our drive right now. Consequently, we joined a group called the Intertribal Buffalo Council of Rapid City, South Dakota. We did that in January. The objective of the council is the restoration of Tuttaha, to preserve it for historical purposes, for cultural events, spiritual relationships, etc. They also have a relationship with national and state parks, and also private ranchers who actually donate the buffaloes to tribes. We have collaborated with the Quapaws and also the Ioways. Jimmy Justice has done a real good job along with his group, in making sure, with Sunny Evans, and making sure that we are engaged with them and are knowing of best practices and the actual adoption of some head, if you will. So that's where we're at right now. We are waiting for the Intertribal Buffalo Council, they call it ITBC, to come back to us after their meeting. We have applied for that membership. I believe that was done at their last quarterly meeting, but we have asked them to set some time aside so that our committee can meet with them and move forward now that we're all engaged with that. And I think it's just a much better approach than just trying to figure out what we're doing. They have great guidance, and they've been around, and again, it's 82 tribes that they service, so we're looking forward to it. And if you are interested in the membership, that would be Sunny Boy Phils, Deb Eckahawk, Morgan Littleson, Pat Leading Fox, Ramona Horse Chief, and you can be our member too if you want to. If you want to join in, let me know, and I don't want to inundate you with stuff like that, but if you're interested, I'll be sure to include you. Thank you.
The next committee we have is the Tribal Emergency Response Committee.
That's me, our Tribal Emergency Response Committee. Anybody hear me? Otherwise known as TERC. We met 4 times in the past quarter. At the beginning of the year, we were meeting bi-weekly because the numbers were really high for COVID early on. But since our numbers have gone down, we've gone back to once a month. Our meeting consists of leadership from Pawnee Nation as well as Pawnee Nation College, the BIA and IHS, as well as TDC, to make sure that everybody who works on our reserve, that we're on the same page and we're all doing the same thing at the same time and sharing the same messaging. That's been working really good. Right now our numbers are down, and so before we were having masks mandated for all tribal buildings. It's no longer that way. Now it is up to people's option if they'd like to do that. And that's where we are.
Do you have BIA representation on that group as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Superintendent Love Camp's on.
All right, thank you. Thank you for all these reports. It's good to hear everything that's going on, and it kind of, goes along with, what I had mentioned, that we do have a lot of projects going on, a lot of action by these committees to make those projects move forward, so I appreciate all of you. The next reports that we have are the Pawnee Nation commissions. First commission we have is the Election Commission. Okay. I don't believe we have anybody to present on that. Can we get that report shared, or? Okay. Next commission that we have, Environmental Regulatory Commission. Anybody from ERC? Okay. Okay. We don't have anybody here that will do the commission reports. They are available. If anybody would like to see the commission reports, they can contact Jen or Jamie, and they'll get you the reports. I just want to go ahead and read the commissions that we do have currently. That way, everybody knows what's available. We have an election commission. We have an environmental regulatory commission. We have a gaming commission, liquor control commission, sports commission, tax commission, tarot commission, and utility commission that currently provide regulatory oversight over the programs here at the nation. Next item that we have on the agenda is the Pawnee Nation College report.
effective on December 31st, 2022. On February the 8th of 2023, Pawnee Nation College also accepted the resignation letter of Michael Burgess as the NTIA National Telecommunication and Information Administration Project Director. Stacy Burns, acting president, will also serve as the NTIA project director, as well as to continue her duties as the NACTEP, Native American Career Technology Education Program project director. As a reminder for everyone, any new MOUs must be approved by Ms. Burns and Pawnee Nation College Board of Trustees. The Board of Trustees recently voted to hire Caressa Baker, a contracting consultant for services related to Pawnee Nation College administrative matters directly related to the accreditation process for Pawnee Nation College. Our quarterly summary report. The Pawnee Nation College has just completed the spring 2023 semester of academic year 2022 to 2023. In the spring of 2023, the college had an enrollment of 46 students and 9 graduates completed their associate's degree in Native American Studies, early childhood development, natural resources.
All right, yes, so that's a very good report, and it's good to hear, the things that the college is doing and looking at, reopening those doors to get some collaboration going on between us and PVC. Between us and the Pawnee Nation College. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, if I
Yes.
could, I just wanted to say the college is doing so amazingly well, and we've hit low points that we've turned around from. I couldn't say more for what Ms. Burns has done, and Board of Trustees wise, I know there are several of us who sit on that board, and I know we're all interested in the success of the college. I just wanted to put a couple of points of interest in, if I could, just to say on the NACTEP grant, which is kind of our main funding grant for the past many years. We have been just a superstar on that as far as, having our administrative staff be representatives of, of excellence in this. So that shows our strength in that, and hopefully our ongoing likelihood of having funding there. The NTIA grant, which connects in with our broadband work that Vice President Canujo has been such a large part of. Just to throw some other things, that, it connects. We've got a new computer lab going in. It will function as a community computer lab, so not just for tribal folks, or just for the Pawnee Nation College students, but it'll also be a part in working with the whole. Well, it'll be its own digital library. But it'll also be a part of the connecting in for the digital archive that is such a huge, cool thing in the next couple of years. Let's see. We've got a bunch of ag grants and just doing great work on that side of things. We partner with OSU for most of those and just having great success there. Just to mention one of them in particular right now, we have one for meat processing. So graduates go through a several-week process on hands-on study and just an amazing program. And at the end of that, then they get their meat processing certificate and receive $2,000 for completing the program. But and goodness knows, and we know there is room for us to grow there. We have our cattle program. USDA, when they were here not long ago, had clearly signaled that cattle processing was an area they're willing to fund. What a way to work together and interdigitates, so to speak. Summer enrollments, 33 students so far, which is, I believe, is a new high for us, I think by quite a bit for summer. Kind of briefly mentioned retention rate. National retention rate for colleges is somewhere around 45%. Pawnee Nation College is at 66%. I think that says a lot about what we do and how we do it. And we, meaning mostly, it's you guys. Student success. Our students have gone on and done great things. We have students who've gone on to graduate degrees, at many colleges, OSU, OU, and done great things. Our valedictorian this year, Chris McCrae, was also the valedictorian for Nebraska Indian Community College. So we are doing great things here. So last thing I wanted to say is that our focus is on students. Each student is provided a laptop, computer to help them with their studies. Our class size is amazingly small. I am sure less than a quarter of the size at any other college or university. And I think maybe that's why our retention rate is so high and our success rate is so high. And especially in that, for the most part at this point, it's mostly non-traditional students. And we are getting folks who didn't think they could go to college who are now being incredibly successful. And we're doing that at this point with a cost to the student of $1 per semester hour. Where in the world else are you going to find that? And I know a lot of other colleges and universities got some of the same COVID money that's helping a little bit with that. Who else is doing that? Who else is spending their money like that on the students? And that's what our focus is. I just want to see more folks taking advantage of it. So, anyways. Sorry to take a little time there.
Can I say something, President? Thank you. I also would like to acknowledge the Pawnee Nation College for the work that is being done for our students here within the Pawnee Nation. Amber Whiteshirt, who has her bachelor's degree from Pawnee Nation, just received her master's from Oklahoma University, OU, in Norman, in museum science, and I'd like to acknowledge her today. Thank you.
Yes, very, very great reports, and we continue to wish the college, the best in future success endeavors, because I know that you guys are onto some great things, so.
President, I had a question.
Yes. Vice President Canujo?
Sure. You mentioned that Parisa was brought on as a consultant. What is her objectives as she's working with the college?
She's going to work with us on working with accreditation, so we're building our 5-year strategic exit plan, so starting with the handbooks and all the things that have in place. And she also is the institutional experiences and research assessment director at NICC, so she works hand in hand with her at NIU, partners with she knows that they are guiding them through accreditation. So she's also going to be an SLPs and operational guidelines, all the things that have to be in place for us to be a college accredited. So she's going to work with me, and we're going to start with the handbook this weekend with the faculty, and that handbook will be combined, so that we're protected in the HR area, and then building with the board on our strategic plan, and so it's going to be a 5-year plan what is required by the
Okay. I think that was a good move. I had the opportunity to attend the meeting that you all hosted with Parisa and myself, Dr. Evans, President Echohawk at the time. He was also there at the meeting as well. She had a lot of good information. She did provide that packet for us to review and everything else. A lot of that, what Dr. Evans mentioned, was in that packet and stuff like that. So I think she's really going to be a good asset to the Pawnee Nation College to really move you guys forward, especially with accreditation. I know that's been a huge challenge and a huge undertaking for the college in the past years, and so hopefully this will be the time to do it and see that happening. So I'm looking forward to that as well. A lot of good things are happening with the college, and I'm just excited to see what's going on. Thank you.
All right, any more comments? Yes, Donna?
I want to congratulate Stacy for being selected unanimously to act. I've worked along with her for years, and I just have seen her abilities, and so I'm glad that they recognize that. And I'm really glad to hear about the collaboration with Pawnee Nation. That's what we set up the college to do way back there, and to provide training for us and for TDC. And so anyway, I'm really pleased with your report, and so happy that the college is going the direction it is.
Right, thank you. Okay, if no further comments, we'll move on to the Pawnee Nation Housing Authority report.
I guess that'll be me.
Okay.
So this past quarter, we are continuing on trying to find an area that we can develop for housing, because we know that we are in desperate need of housing in our community. But we have identified a tract of land. It's 14 acres, and we're looking to develop that. I did send that to our grant writer to have her go over all the logistics on what a development would look like. But the area that we're looking at, we can get into rural water and Indian electric, so that would be some cost savings.
Right.
But so that's what we're really looking at hot and heavy right now, and identifying grants we can actually apply for. She does have a fee when we do apply, but right at this time it's no cost so far. And at housing, on top of our day-to-day operations, we have recently gone into inspecting our homes again. We had held off during the pandemic pretty much from going in and being too invasive and all the sicknesses, but we have gone back, and we actually completed those last week finally. But that was after 3 years of not inspecting. But that's pretty much it. We did assist on this HIP program that planning had. The only portion we officially had was to verify the applications, whether they were complete or incomplete. So we weren't involved with selection or anything. But that's all I have right now for housing. If anybody has any questions.
I do.
Yes.
Of course I do. I'd like to know if you've received your funding for the year. I'd also like to know what programs are available to our nation members.
Our funding begins again in October. I believe, we usually operate off of previous year's monies until we do get our money in, and I don't believe we've actually received it yet.
Okay.
For this fiscal year. But I can tell you that we did have that homeowners assistance fund that we worked on hot and heavy, and there was several applicants that we were not able to serve fully. And so we did go along and provide some projects for homeowners. But I can tell you we expended a lot of those funding for this fiscal year, so now we're having to slow it down. We are still doing our own homes, remodeling and getting those ready for new tenants. But currently, I would say that our funding has been depleted for this fiscal year until October, but we still do receive those applications, and we will get back to them when funding is available again.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys have done a real nice job keeping it nice over there on Eagle Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kimball. Anybody else have any comments, questions?
Yes, President, I did.
Yes.
You had mentioned a tract of land. Is that something that you can disclose now, or is that still kind of just in the works?
Well,
The only reason I ask, I'm thinking kind of more of the renewable side as well, like the children and stuff. There might be some funding that could possibly help with that as well.
Oh, yeah, it's not solid yet, but we haven't actually purchased it. We're looking at how do we want to purchase it. We can purchase it outright, but we haven't. So I wanted to make sure, and our Board of Commissioners will have to make that approval.
Okay.
So yeah, and our next meeting will be on the 13th. So hopefully we get something solidified at that point.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Secretary Gardapi. The next report we have is the Pawnee Nation Tribal Development Report. Could kind of speak up a little bit more, Jeff.
Is this better?
Yes.
So this is Sammy Kimball, so are you going to schedule a meeting so we can start discussing this?
I'll probably, I'd be open to a joint meeting for this.
I think you need to schedule one.
It's 11 months away, but I think we need to start talking about it now.
I think you need to schedule it.
What we want to do, if we want to refinance it or.
Jeff, Jen will be contacting you so we can try to get some dates arranged and so we can get some meetings, get a meeting going and be able to discuss, that, and, throw some agenda items out there that TDC may also possibly want to discuss with the PBC as well. Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions for TDC? Okay, thank you, Jeff. I don't know if you heard me or not. I just had said that Jen would be reaching out to you to discuss potential dates and potential agenda items for that joint meeting.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you. The next report that we have is the Pawnee Nation Executive Director report.
Yes, thank you. We started out the first quarter really busy. We were focusing on creating self-governance division, working with our election commission on tribal elections, maintaining traction on our strategic infrastructure needs with water and energy projects, updated our tribal phones and our security systems for our buildings, as well as working on our partnerships with TDC and Pawnee Nation College. I did want to update too that our education program, I wanted to do a shout out to them because out of 296 tribal nations that have a 477 program, they were voted the one tribe through BIA that received their Division of Workforce Program of the Year award. So we're really proud of them. So they're always being really innovative and creative in how we put people to work. And one of the things I really like that Susie does as a division director and her team is, we've been really good in the past about working with our younger staff and building up our younger staff. Susie's direction and her goal is to now work for adults, people who are coming back into the work environment, whether they've been a stay-at-home mom, whether they've been incarcerated, if they've had addiction problems. How do we get them back working? And that's one of her main goals, and I just applaud her for that. So that's really innovative and it's creative, so that's a good thing. She's also really helping get people their licenses, their birth certificates, any kind of paperwork. Once you're incarcerated, a lot of times you lose that. Or we have a lot of tribal citizens who just never got their paperwork. So education department's being really great at finding ways to get people their personal documents so that we can get them to work. Also working really closely with our tarot program and seeing how we can use 477 program in a partnership with tarot. I wanted to update too on the liquor control, the scholarship money they have. They have $2,000 a year. They do it possibly 3 times a year. They're the one people that do that, and that is fall, spring, and if they have money in the summertime, they'll do it then too. So they give away 2 $500 scholarships twice a year for sure. If they have funding available, they do it a 3rd time of the year. So, like you said, a lot of money out there. Okay. I'm not going to go through my entire report because there's a lot, but everybody is welcome to view it on our website. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I did want to go over a couple of the things. Trauma-informed training, we're starting that with our staff this year. It's been a year that we've been planning this. And what this is it's not trauma-informed training for them in their personal homes. It's for Pawnee Nation. How can we be better at addressing trauma in the workplace and live by those policies and procedures and everything that we do? So we are combining training with everybody from WEX workers to entry-level positions, mid-management, management, and division directors will be sitting on this together all at one time, and we're going to begin that next month. And that will be a process. It'll be a 5-year plan. The second year, we'll be doing that for our judges and justices, for our law enforcement, and elected leaders. And then in the third year, we'll bring that out into the community and see how we can all of us that work together with the college, with TDC, how we can really be trauma-informed and a true trauma-informed best practice government. Our ordinance work group, I know that Councilman Kimball have already gone through some of that. They've worked really hard on that. I'm really excited about that project. J.D. Young is working on that. The last steps of that is we're going to be working with our Job It Roundtable and with our social services to see what kind of laws need to be updated, for one, and then two, what kind of laws need to be created. And these laws are specifically surrounded by safety and protection for our employees and for our tribal citizens. Once we have that justification of why those laws need to be done, then we'll bring it to PBC and we'll go from there. Public health updates, we're doing really good with that. Our Turk report, I gave that and updated it. Pawnee Nation was one of 10 tribal nations out of 36 that was identified by the BIA to receive $100,000 for a pilot program. It's not a grant, it's just a pilot program called the Tewahe Initiative. And what that initiative is the BIA is working with the very thing that we're just talking about, is trauma and how to keep families together. And the BIA has been working on this for 20 years, and they've had funding for this. And they work specifically on changing and fostering a systemic change through a tribal nation by using their own culture and changing how families are not staying together, how there's recidivism, and how there is an epidemic of trauma in families. And so they focus on 6 core programs: social services, Indian Child Welfare Act, tribal courts, law enforcement, recidivism reduction, housing and job placement and training. With the funding that we have for that $100,000, we're able to get a project manager from BIA that will help us come and do a needs assessment to see what we need to do in Pawnee Nation to do that. And then once we have that assessment and we finish that out, then the next year BIA will look and see if they can fund us again. And the potential for that funding could be $1 million. So this is a really big deal. And it just shows that people are hearing about what we're doing, and they like that. So that's just that is something that I'm really proud of our PBC and our staff for doing it, because this takes guts. Homecoming planning, I know we talked about this a little bit. We've been working with TDC to see how we can fill a gap. One of the issues that they were having, as you know, is employment for our smoke shop. We want to make sure that when our family members come home for homecoming, that they have a place to go for the smoke shop, and that the hours are open, and that there's able to, do good service. So this is one of the things, again, that Susie was great about. She jumped in, and so she's using her WEX workers to see how we can get temporary gaming licenses for them to work at TDC. We've already done that. We've worked with Gaming and Arthur and how to do that. So the hours have been confirmed for the TDC trading post. They're going to be extending their hours the week before, the week of, and even the week after homecoming from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And after that, then they're going to be looking at it to see if this is something that we can start doing on a regular basis, and now have seasonal options for our WEX workers, and see how we can be more creative in supporting TDC as a nation, and how our HR department can work together on that. NMAI visit, the National Museum of American Indian, and their 26th Board of Trustees is going to be visiting our Pawnee Nation Museum on June 20th. And they requested this visit. They wanted to come and see what we're doing at Pawnee Nation, and see what the museum is doing, and see if they can help in any ways of fundraising and how we can grow that, the project of telling our own story. So I am working with the museum on that, and our director of CRD, Herb Atson, and we'll give you updates as we go on that. What that's going to look like is the Board of Trustees is just going to be in town for probably a couple hours. There's going to be a short little presentation, provide some food, and then they're moving on. So I've already sent everybody an invite for that. I'll give you updates as we go. We're also working with White Fox. A work group has been created from the National Museum of American Indian. Their repatriation manager, as well as the Association of Tribal Archives, Libraries, and Museums. Of course, our team at Pawnee Nation, the Museum of Pawnee Nation, and also the State Department, as well as the Museum of World Culture in Gothenburg, Sweden. We are working with the president, Nuttle, on that, and our team. And like I said, we'll give you updates as we go. It's a lot of just planning and seeing how to get our committees together. Pawnee Nation Court, they have, Chief Justice has been working very hard the past year on training his judges and justices on how a tribal court should be functioning. That's one of his goals. So he has established that. The inaugural tribal court training has been set for October 13th. It's going to be in Miami, Oklahoma. And I've sent an invite to all the PDC on that, just so you're aware of it. He has everybody from Ms. Susie Kunuho to other justices, AGs. His goal is to train real-life setting how to take care of a courtroom, how what your roles and responsibilities are as a judge, as a court reporter, and also how not to re-traumatize families when they're in courts. Infrastructure Task Force, they are doing a lot. We're right on track with our timeline. As you know, we have an Infrastructure Task Force that has been given the project of seeing us through all of our projects relating around water, energy, transportation, housing. And we have a timeline that we're on. It's a 5-year plan, and we're right on that timeline. They're working with our consultants to create SOPs for the work group. And they're doing a lot. We're also working with IHS to request a letter of support for a wastewater system. The President Nuttle and I are working on them with that as well. Another thing that I wanted to share with you that the Infrastructure Task Force is working on is one of the issues that we're having is the state of Oklahoma has moved their walkie-talkie system. I'm trying to say it to where we all understand it, but the radio frequency has been changed, and so nationally it is a 800 megahertz. Currently, Pawnee Nation is working on a digital and analog system. So what that means is everybody around us, emergency management, when they are calling to say there's a fire, there's an emergency, they have to have this certain wave signal. There's new towers being put up that allows that to happen. We serve not only the city of Pawnee, but we serve a lot of the counties as far as DNRS and our emergency management. This is vital that we get up to speed. This is why we have this infrastructure task force is one of the things because this affects that. So we have been working with the state and the county on funding for that to get us updated. It's one of the big pushes from our Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau for the federal government that it is 800 megahertz. This is very, very pricey. It's a lot of money. And so we're looking at ways to find funding to do this because it's not we want to, we have to get updated. This is a 911 literally, issue, pardon the pun. So that's what we're working on. Another thing that we're working on is the task force is gathering info to present to the PBC on justifying why we need to do bids for our equitable energy utility system. Right now, the Pawnee Nation pays a utility rate that is the industrial rate to the city of Pawnee, and we are requesting the exempt rate. Different rates go to different people, so they're looking into that, and they'll be presenting that to the PBC and justifying why we need that. So you can see they're doing a lot of good work. Also, self-governance is in the works. We have 5 different programs under Pawnee Nation that has been approved for self-governance. That is the Office of Justice Services, which is our tribal law enforcement, our Tribal Government Office, which is aided tribal government, our Public Safety and Justice, which is our tribal court programs, our Human Services, which is Indian Child Welfare and Social Services, and our Community Development Office, which is Job Placement and Training Program. We are working on the behavior health. That's going good. I know Treasurer Chapman talked about that. And graduation update. I want to do that real quick and I'll be done. Our JOM Senior Banquet was on May 9th, where we had all of the graduates received ribbon ties and shawls. JOM also sent certificates of achievement to one Pawnee boy and one Pawnee girl in all the grades 2nd through 12th grade. And all the Pawnee Nation graduates this year across the U.S. were able to apply to receive a really beautiful Pawnee Nation gold medallion that they wore with their crossing the stage. And so we did a lot. That's my report. Do you guys have any questions?
Thank you, Jennifer, for the report. I do have a question, and I don't recall you mentioning it, but just wanted an ETA on, I know that you mentioned previously that the policies and procedures were being worked on, and I wanted to know if you have an estimated time of when that will be completed.
So policies and procedures, which ones?
The HR policies and
the
procedures.
HRs. Yes, I'm reviewing that. Within 2 weeks, we should have an updated one, and we can bring it to the PBC.
All right, and then the next question I have is I've been hearing a lot about the Second Chance program.
Oh, thank you.
And I would like to get some
Yes.
information on that, on what it
Okay.
is, because I've been hearing people talk about it, and I just was interested in to
Yes,
see what it
and
was.
so is everyone aware that Pawnee Nation employees are able to use a Second Chance program? Has anyone heard of this? Okay, so this is such a great program. It's something that I'm really proud that Pawnee Nation has, and they've had it apparently for many, many years. And I have the policy procedures from Mike Ortiz, who heads our SAT program. So what this is at Pawnee Nation, we do random drug tests for employees. If someone does not pass a drug test, then they have an option to do a Second Chance program. What that means is they sign a contract with us saying that we agree to, 1, go to treatment, to 2, to work with our SAT program counselors, and depending on what level of help they need, they make that arrangement, meaning if they meet daily, if they meet weekly, if they meet monthly, but they have to come in and they have to follow that regimen. They also have to be tested once a week to make sure that they're staying clean. If they do all these things, then that contract allows them to maintain their job for 2 years. If during that time they do not, if they void that contract, then we part ways, we wish them well, and once that they change their life, hopefully, then we are glad to interview them again. That is the program that we have, and one thing that we're adding to this that I think that was needed, and we all pretty much agreed on this, is that it's great that we're doing this for addiction, but we need to expand it to crisis and trauma management. So if someone has PTSD, if they have anger management issues, if they have PICS, which is post-incarceration syndrome, and we don't know how to work with them, then we could put them through Second Chances program and help them as well. It shouldn't be just people with addictions. It should be for all behavioral health and mental health issues. So thank you for asking about that. We don't share that information with people just out of protection. No. We keep everybody safe. Yeah, but it's a great program.
Okay, anyone else?
President, I had a couple questions.
Yes, Vice President.
What was the name of that BIA program you mentioned that was $400,000? It was for the trauma that they're going to do.
That is Tewahe, the Tewahe initiative. So if you look at my report, also I can show it to you. It's $100,000.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other question was for the homecoming. You said that they were going to look at getting WEX workers temporarily, I guess, licensed to be able to work at the post. Is that, and you mentioned the hours, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's just on the post side. That's not the casino side. That's just the post side.
Correct, because for temporary workers through gaming, you cannot touch anything gaming. You have to be just working at a register for the convenience store side.
Okay. So those hours are just for the post, I don't know.
Yes,
I
and
mean,
you know
it's-
what, I can share those hours if you like. Can you share those? And then also, we're gonna post them on, in the chief and then Facebook. So, the hours for homecoming is June 25th, Sunday through Thursday, June 29th. It's gonna be open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Friday, which, is also the beginning of, I'm sorry, it's the second day of homecoming, which is June 30th through Saturday, July 1st. It's going to be 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Sunday, July 2nd to Saturday, July 8th. It will be 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And then on July 9th, they will return back to their regular hours. Also, the Mazzios will stay open 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. during the week of homecoming and for the week after the holiday festivities. And so we're really looking at this as a pilot to see how does this work. And then after we're done, we're going to look at it and see what adjustments do we need to make. Did it work? Did it not work? How can we tweak it? And then hopefully this is something we can keep doing and supporting TDC with.
I have a question on the WEX workers. I know we have homecoming coming up, and we're going to have it here on the reserve. Are there any WEX workers assigned to help the veterans organization
Thank you for that.
also?
Thank you. So, no, but instead we have a list of volunteers that have requested to help. So that's everybody from the executive office to anybody that wants to join. And so we're going to have T-shirts with people that have volunteer on the back of their shirts. Because this year there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of confusions on, where things are and what time things begin. So TDC has volunteered their 6-passenger golf carts that we can carry elders back and forth to parking or take them to the parade or to wherever they need to go. We also have gators from property and from DNRS where we can transport people. But right now we're just doing a list of volunteers. And the reason why we're doing that is because it's going to be a little bit confusing for staff alike, having it on the reserve. A lot of staff are saying, hey, we don't want to work. This is our time to enjoy our families and have family, family events. So we understand that. So we are not requesting anybody to work. We're just doing volunteers.
Okay. And then I had a question about the second chance policy you talked about. Is that actually in our HR policies? Is it in there?
It's not in our HR policies because that's just, that's operations. And so, but that is a standard operating procedure for SAP program. So.
It's for SAP?
Yep, for SAP.
Okay.
And so that's just something that we do for employees. But I know whenever we met with Councilwoman Kimball, she requested we put that in the PMP, which I agree. So we're adding that in there so people see this is something that we can do. But we're going to do it appropriately where we don't, put too much information in about it.
Right. Could you send the council a
You
copy
bet.
of those? Because I've
You
never
bet.
heard of them. Thank you.
It's such a great program.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Donna?
Thank you. That was a good report, Jennifer. I wanted to ask you about the detour that is scheduled to come out here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So during homecoming, one of the concerns we had, Chris McCrae, who was the director of our Pawnee Nation Department of Transportation, was sharing that the Black Bear Bridge is going to be under construction during that time. The good news is the state is not doing anything on that yet. They're kind of dragging their heels. So fingers crossed, it won't start construction until after homecoming. So we haven't heard from the state. I'll let you know when we know when that's happening, but so far we're in the clear.
And when it does come out, when the traffic does start coming out here, are we ready for the public safety part of it and to issue tickets?
Thank you. Yes, that's one of the things that I'm working with Chief Canuho on is this, and this just doesn't align with this detour. This should be every day is public safety. What are we doing? How are we holding people accountable? How are we working with the city? Cross-deputization. Those are my goals for this year, is really working with law enforcement on how are we keeping people safe.
Anybody else have comments for Jen? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Chief Justice is Gregory Smith.
Okay, this is Leanna to you. Who is the Chief Justice, Jennifer?
Gregory Smith.
Okay. And also, when you were talking about the, I think you called it the infrastructure task force and about 800 megahertz things for the law enforcement. And you mentioned for the tribe, and you're working with other counties. Are you working with the communities within the counties of the tribal jurisdiction?
So those are two different things. So this is for all emergency management personnel who uses a radio. Yes, and so our emergency management is working with the state and the counties on this.
Okay. With the Yale?
Yes,
private
yes,
Yale City
yep,
Police?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I appreciate
Yep,
that.
you bet, with everybody.
We used to be left out a lot in those high schools.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yes, and you know, and this is important to mention. I'm glad you said that, because this doesn't, there's no tribal boundaries when it comes to emergency management. It is anybody and everybody matters. And so that's one of the things that we want to make sure, that our citizens are safe and that we're able to help people whenever we need to.
Okay, so you're all three on the same page?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, last year, the PBC recalls, we were asked to take part in a emergency management board with all of the sheriffs, the city police, emergency management came together to create a coalition, and they asked tribal representatives to be on that. And so we have Monty Matlock on that. So that way, everybody in Oklahoma is aware of things just like this, so that emergency management has clear communications. You're welcome. And also, I wanted to share with you, James just texted me this, so thank you, James. Also, I'm not sure if people, this may be throwing it off. I know staff calls it Second Chances Program, but it's officially called Employee Assistance Program. So that may be what you've heard before. Okay.
Okay. Leanna, does that conclude your questions?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jennifer, I also wanted to mention you had talked about the cross-deputization agreements, and we used to have those in place, so before you kind of reinvent the wheel, you might just pull those up that way.
Yes, they're all expired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the language part.
Yes.
And then also with OJT, that we're, looking into compacting that program with DOI. Can we please make sure that education or Taro is sitting at the table when we're discussing those program assumptions? Because I had been discussing that came up in one of our JON meetings, and she didn't have any idea of what we were talking
Okay,
about.
yes,
So,
thank you. I'll do that.
okay, the next report we have is the Pawnee Nation Attorney General report. Attorney General Attorney General Smith will turn that over to you right now. I believe you may be on mute.
Chad, I can hear you. I don't think they.
We we can hear James. Let me see.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. The floor is yours.
This is Chad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Can you start with the classes of legal issues that's facing probably there's environmental issues, there's two pending in the 10th Circuit, one's on fracking, and the other one is marketing property, midnight running, or something that we help impose conditions and trials. The lead attorney on that is Michael Friedman. He's the attorney with Justice. It's a non-profit public interest firm. What they do is that they do not charge fees, they charge sometimes miscellaneous expenses, which are extremely minimal. But where we're at now, we're really partly from actually interior and environmental protection issues to negotiate a settlement to midnight riding. There's a couple of issues that are still pending that is progressing on. To deal with James Schlichter, in trial court, we have a new case called Pawnee versus Nuttle filed in 2018, and involves a claim against engineering firm for bridge contract. The case is set for jury trial in October this year. It's been passed several times by the defendant and sometimes court. We were entertained and possible suing Misty over Christmas 2020 water break caused by their subordinate subcontractor. It's been reconsidered because of the better and better relationship among the parties. The TDC granted the authority to bring a lawsuit over $80,000 they from college owed Pawnee Nation College. The history of that case is we tried to negotiate over several years. When it comes to that $1 million judgment against them, that was headed to a sheriff's sale to sell their accounts. And so we were anxious to get a lawsuit filed so the assets would not be distributed before we had our claim on record. They promised able to get a stay of the sheriff's sale by posting a bond so urgency lapsed. Finding Nation College, they were still anxious in bringing the suit. They had one overture about discussing settlement and discussing terms and liability, probably 2 or 3 years ago. And said finds that they can proceed with that litigation. There's another case, it's actually in the Union Board of Indian Appeals, and deals with the Magellan pipeline. Magellan and regulations, the Bureau came in and forced certain Pawnees to take their land in fee rather than maintaining trust relationship. And a lot of Rush Roberts and his heirs who took that, a lot of it back together and settled down by Deborah Nuttle. The Bureau has been extremely slow in responding to canceling the fee, force fee, and patent. This has been with the board meeting period. It was for about 4 or 5 years. We asked the Secretary of the Interior to take it back. They're considering that. In the meantime, the county assessor of Pawnee County agreed to withhold that from the sheriff's sale after there was a trust fund settled and back taxes. There's my duty still included in providing review and gaming, various articles of the corporation guidelines. I assisted the Constitutional Convention. There's many of their meetings. One of the other projects that has a lot of applications to the entire Pawnee population is the convocation. President of all has been very serious to go to sort of take lead on that project officially. And so what I did is took all the Bible codes that you could find, and most of them were in PDF, some of them you can transfer to Word, and after assembly of all those, because they're not in one place to be, I found that there's probably 6 or 8 different formats for codes, probably 4 or 5 different fonts, spacings. So what I did is take the largest body of codes, which is the law enforcement law and order code of 1993. There's about 1,000 pages in it today. Determine the most consistent format, apply that to all the codes, reformatting those. It turns out to be 22 titles opposed to 2,000 pages. So that body of codes is pretty much done in terms of consistent legal format. I want to thank Cecilia Hopkins. She took the last code, which could not be transferred from Word, from PDF to Word, and she had to retype much of that. She was very helpful. So I've gone through that. In the next couple of weeks, I will have another draft of those 22 titles for consistency of the format. They do need another cut, and we'll try to see if Cecilia can help me here to go back and make sure there's consistent indentation, margins, and such. So with that, because we bring to review, we will propose to provide that to the government documents committee for review. Nothing substantively has changed. It's just creating a consistent format where you can reference it and look it up by word search of Word document. Yes, government documents need to approve that report to the PBC for approval. So we will all have the same document to work from. And from there, substantial work begins by handing that document out to each of the program directors and those interested in the code. I'll ask them to review it and basically see what's outdated, what needs revision, and what laws need to be considered. Some laws in the code are basically outdated. For example, the first code of the Pawnee Nation in a long time is the 1984 like that, it needs consideration to really need to just leave it in place. So that's a very interesting project. Working with the IT community. Sam Kendall has helped put those communities together with the codification of the, and show there's a consensus that Jay will be able to provide online formatting of this code and a lot of tools to make it easy to define the code, find the same kind of topics, resolutions and case law. For example, if you want to look up status of the law on pipelines, you can go to the code, search for pipeline, how many laws can pass on pipelines. And then you get the same screen face of the computer. Look up pipelines for resolutions. You can go to another column, look up pipelines that has been reviewed by the courts. So we are waiting for a bit from J.D. Young and his last week on specifics. And so I'm actually very excited about that project. For the first time we did a go online and find the website and easily navigate to both office. Also providing review of documents for reconnect and solar colleges. There's always documents that need review and return those around very quickly. Pawnee mental health, another exciting project. Just recently we providing documents to help meet the requirements for the new market tax rates. And that requirement to get these tax rates, the requirement, the Internal Revenue Service requires a non-profit and 5% interest. As far as general consensus, that's Pawnee Nation College as a non-profit, we get 5% interest holder. So we developed some documents and managed to be reviewed by Pride and LLC and the funders to see if that will work. That helped us require, for example, the tax compact and providing personnel advice to the executive director and can the ABC government documents and the government affairs needed. So glad to return any questions.
Council, anybody have any questions for Attorney General Smith? I just had one question, and it was on your, you had mentioned that J.D. Young was going to assist with making the documents searchable. Are they also taking on the ADA compliance? Or are any of those, the ADA compliance for websites? I mean, when they're searching documents, are they making sure?
Yeah, for some reason, the last half hour, the others gone in and out. But I think the question is J.D. Young taking on other aspects of importing legal documents?
Well, I had a question regarding the ADA compliance requirements for documents included in like search engines for anyone who's.
When I become a non-disclosure agreement, you see they're all public documents, statutes, resolutions, others.
Misty, we can add that to the scope.
And the ADA, I'm not too sure how, we actually haven't had a discussion. But I'll be glad to follow up with them, that aspect.
Okay, thank you. And not only with those documents, but, with the rest of our other documents as well.
Chris said she is recommend that you go to board.
Okay. Thank you, Attorney General Smith. I believe that's all the questions that we have for you. Appreciate you giving your report. Okay, the next item that we have on the agenda is the approval of the 2023 Pawnee Nation first quarterly reports by the divisions. Does anybody have questions on the reports that were submitted by the divisions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to get those approved.
I'll make a motion to approve the division reports.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Hearing no comments or questions regarding the reports, I'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Next item we have is the approval of the 2023 Pawnee Nation first quarterly report, committees, commissions, and boards. I'll entertain a motion to approve these reports.
I'll make a motion to approve the quarter reports for committees, commissions, and boards.
Okay, a motion been made by Councilwoman Butler. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Councilwoman Chapman Young. Any questions, comments, discussion? If not, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, motion is approved. The next item we have is the approval of the 2023 Pawnee Nation first quarterly report financial. We've received these in our packet. Any questions? Councilwoman Butler?
I just have a few questions. I did notice that in some of the budgets that there are a lot of miscellaneous budgets in there. And I just don't know if that's because of miscoding and then they just made corrections. And I only noticed it because one of them was for the Princess Committee and it said that it was indirect cost budget, but we don't have an indirect cost budget. So that's why I'm wondering if there was just miscodings that were just corrected that are in there.
Okay. We have James here. So James, can you explain Cynthia's question there?
Because there was also one in the planning, and I'm not for sure, because, and the reason I asked is because they don't have anything underneath the column where it says PVC approved, and it just has an outing expenditure, or a negative expenditure, I guess is what it is. I just questioned it.
What is your program number
On Pawnee,
on the Princess
on the
Committee?
Princess, oh, I don't know. 850. Because one of them was also I also have a question, James, on the Pawnee Nation College budget. Theirs doesn't have a PVC approval, so were they not approved for a budget for this year? It was $35,000 that's already been expended. And it was in the negative. I just have questions about the negative things, if those budgets were, it just looks funny whenever you're sitting there and, 37,000. It doesn't have a PBC approved budget, but it does have expenditures for 37,000. So they're in the negative 37,000.
Okay.
Is the way it's reading. So it's just a question. I don't know why they're being reported like that.
James was getting ready to.
James, can we first address the miscellaneous that's in the Princess Committee budget? And we'll just take your questions one at a time. You're on mute, James. Yeah, 850. Jen, are you texting him?
I just got a text now.
Okay,
This is James.
we're here.
Earlier with Chad, the sound on my side, so what I did, I opened up the YouTube to hear the question, but it's obviously it's later than what's going on, so, that at the time, I visited, oh, just a minute. So the apprentice one is a miscoding, and so with all the stuff that's going into finance, to tell you the truth, I'm bringing them all out, trying to get them ready, because we're going through a pre-audit right now, but we're also doing I guess getting ready for the audit for the client. So yes, there are some, those are going to go in. So they've got to put in there that those will be great. Then the other one, I'm mistaken, I heard was the college. We sent out, everybody will wear food, we sent out to every program, which includes the college. We just haven't received that copy signed thing yet, so it's all, we also make those payments that we approved, that's the quarter of what we approved. So that's why the bank, but hasn't been approved yet. And we usually don't put them in until we have all the secrets.
So what that means is Polynesian College just needs to sign off on it, and then we can get it done.
Thank you. It's just, it looks, whenever you're reading that, it just looks like a lot of budgets that, don't have approved budgets or,
Right.
and I
Well-
get that. That's why I asked, because Princess Committee only has a tribal budget because we raise our money, and then it said IDC, we were under IDC, so I wondered if that was a miscoding and
Right.
then why
Well,
those are reported into
And
things.
two, also, currently, finance is very short-staffed,
Mhm.
very, very short-staffed too, so,
But also
they're-
just a
they're trying
reminder
to catch
to
up.
the executive director to remind our directors and their staff to, start looking at their coding when they do that. Because it does make a difference, I think, whenever you're miscoding things, just a suggestion. Because it does eliminate that part, maybe even some more training on how to do micro-A and how to code things, and making sure that they're re-looking at their budget coding. Thank you.
Yes, that and reviewing your expenditures every month. Okay, any other comments? Questions?
If there are no more, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Not hearing any more comments, asking for a motion to approve the First Nation quarterly report for the financials, and I have motion to approve by Councilwoman Chapman,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilwoman Butler. And since there's no comments or questions, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gardner, P.S., Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare,
Uh-huh.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. The next item we have on the agenda is under new business. We have 4 items under here. The first one is the approval of Resolution 2328, acceptance of PVC regular election results.
Okay, so this is a resolution just to approve. Now, just to make sure I know, Madam President had asked me, why hasn't this been done already? This has been done. The election committee does this formally. This is just publicly coming out on air and saying that, yes, the PDC is acknowledging it and it's being done. So we are following policy on this.
Does anyone have any questions, comments? Councilwoman Hare, please.
Those of us on the resolution, do we vote?
Well, that was my question. I mean,
I know in the past they have, but it's just formality.
So how many would that leave? 1, 2, 3.
It seems a little bit skewed since you've chaired your meeting, you know, your first meeting, and now we're just approving this. I would
Right,
say
and-
it's kind of a mute thing.
Yeah, and that was my question too, was the exact same questions. You know, I feel that this should have been done prior to inauguration. And also, you know, that, yes, I mean, I believe that we should abstain in order to, you know, provide for, or maintain the integrity of our business council operations. So how do you want to proceed? I mean, we
I think that has to be, this is one of the things that always gone to. This is one of the resolutions that's always gone to like the BIA to say that, hey, that we had an election, we're just accepting those results, the Pawnee people voted. I think it's just more of a formality to let them know and to let the tribe know that, hey, these people were elected and we're just doing a resolution to acknowledge that. I think that this is what this resolution is.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we got a motion by by Council Secretary Gardapi. Sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, and a second by Councilman Evans. Let's call for the vote.
Jordan Canujo,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Abstain.
Donna Hare,
Abstain.
Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Okay, the motion passes. Approval of Resolution 2328. Next item we have is approval of Resolution 2329, signature authority for the First Bank and Trust.
Okay, this is a resolution that, because of our election, we are updating our signature cards. And this is for our FB&T account. So this is signature cards updates for Madam President Nuttle, Vice President Canujo, Secretary Gardapi, and Treasurer Chapman.
Okay, do we have any comments, changes in the language? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilwoman Kimball first and Councilwoman Hare. Or you, Councilwoman Butler, excuse me. Get it? Okay. Hearing no further comments or questions, we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canujo,
Yes.
George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman,
Yes.
Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Okay, motion passes. The next item we have is approval of Resolution 2330, Indian Preference BIA Signature Authority.
Yes, and this also is updating signature authority for our Madam President and the appropriate slate of the officers as well.
I don't remember if it was this resolution or not, but I did have the comments of, it references the vice president up at the top and then at the bottom, and there's,
Yes,
you know,
thank
the hyphen
you.
issue.
That's right. One has a hyphen, one doesn't.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Hearing no further comments, go ahead, Councilman Butler.
And this is BIA Indian preference form, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
4432.
I did make some changes in there. I just didn't like the language that it had. And I don't know if you have your computers or if you can see it, but everything that I highlighted and just highlighted, I'm asking for it to be removed, and then everything in red to be replaced with it. So in the whereas where it says the Pawnee Business Council met in a quarterly session, just wanted to know if it could be changed to a quarterly meeting. In the next whereas, the Business Council asserts, I didn't think it sounded correct that you would assert. So I put feels that it is necessary, or it is the best interest of the Pawnee Nation to have an enrollment division, because they are officially a division now instead of an office. And then down in the prayer, then now therefore be it resolved to authorize the following, comma, under the aid to tribal government program to take out the word execute, certify and sign the Indian preference form, and then at the very end, take off to certify and sign the document.
Okay.
It just cleans it up. And it's in Teams. I made the changes in Teams. If you can't, or so.
No, I mean, I just have a question on your comment. Can we omit ATTG since that is a program and put enrollment division or however we're.
And I thought that too, because I had asked, I was like, you think we should eliminate that? Because I don't think
Right.
that has any
Yes.
precedence over who signs this.
Right.
So yes, I would agree with that.
So on.
Councilwoman Hare.
On that one whereas where she says, changes assert to feels, maybe we could put recognizes?
Recognizes? Right?
Okay. Does anybody have any comments, or do we agree with the changes that are being recommended? If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution with changes.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Okay. First by Councilwoman Butler, and then second by Councilwoman Hare. And we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gard, PS, Carol Chapman, Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 4, approval of resolution 2331, signature authorization.
So this is for the other banks, right? Like Bank of America?
Yes.
Okay. And the other one was for First Bank and Trust
Yes.
specifically? Okay, so this would be for Armstrong,
Right.
Bank of America, and others, okay.
Yep, the other three.
And the other resolution too also added the lock boxes, the security boxes. Okay, no questions. We'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Councilwoman Butler, is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Chapman. And we'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canuho,
Yes.
George Gard, PS, Carol Chapman, Cynthia Butler,
Yes.
Donna Hare, Gene Evans,
Yes.
Sammy Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys. The next item we have is open forum. Do you have anything for open forum? Do you have anybody on the list? Hello.
Okay, so I was looking through the Pawnee Nation Tax Commission General Revenue and Taxation Act of August 2020, and I found that the appropriation allocation formula, are you all familiar with that? Okay. All surplus tax revenues shall be appropriated to provide essential tribal government services according to the following allocation formula.
10% for police and fire protection, 10% for road construction, repairs, and maintenance on the reservation, 10% for education of tribal member children at the Pawnee Academy, 10% for tribal public health needs, 10% for water, sewage, and garbage disposal on the reservation, 10% for the acquisition of land and general administration of tribal trust lands, 10% for the advancement and development of tribal enterprises to address chronic unemployment and chronic poverty among tribal members, 10% for other essential government services or tribal public recreation, and 10% for the administration, maintenance, and support of the Pawnee Nation Tax Act by the Pawnee Nation Tax Commission. Is this, do any of you know, is this how it's being distributed? No?
Jen,
Oh, Jennifer, okay.
I'm pulling up a resolution. Because I had looked into this last year. I had the same question about it.
Okay.
And actually, Vice President and I had looked into this. So based, and I can just read it to you real quick. Based on the Pawnee Nation Tax Commission Resolution 20-02 and PBC's approval of the Pawnee Nation Tax Commission recommendation, 1.5% excise tax on first-year registration of vehicle funds shall be allocated to the Tax Commission and the CRD to sustain operations based on 2021's excise tax on first-year registration of vehicle. And I got this information from James from Finance. Registration of vehicle, I'm sorry.
I remember it.
Oh, okay. A total of approximately $87,000 was brought in. After speaking with Harrison, he mentioned the Tax Commission initially proposed this provision in the resolution in order to support one position within the tax department, a tax assistant whose annually salary, including fringe, as well as going towards CRD, which based on 2021's excise tax revenue would be approximately $53,000. And so that's where the funding went.
And that's all of the funding for the tax commission?
Yes, because remember, it's, according to this resolution, it is only 1.5% goes to now two areas, CRD and to help employment for tax.
1.5%?
Yes, and that excise tax is only for new registration vehicles. It's not an annual renewal.
Yeah, yeah. So this shows 90% of the total. Can anyone explain more further? The reason I'm asking, we have heard from a lot of tribes that provide a lot more for their elders. And so, the like showing up and mowing their lawn without even calling or checking, without the elder having to ask, will you come mow my lawn? And repeating it, which is done. We hear from elders who say, oh no, they come regular. They'll come clear to another town to take care of this. Okay. They also take care of the upkeep of their homes. They provide appliances as needed, and they will take care of any repairs. And so when I came across this, I thought, well, can't some of this money go towards taking care of elders, at least mowing grass, and maybe, if nothing else, paying quarterly an amount towards their utilities? And do you have any further questions?
I have one for you, Leanna. Well, I actually have a comment, because early on in the spring, right, before here, the Tarot put out notices to sign up if you needed your lawns done, so that they could schedule, so it's on a regular basis that they're coming out to do that. I know that.
came to my brother, who is an elder and a Vietnam veteran.
Yes.
Who lives in Yale.
Yes.
And they came one time and they have never been back. And he really appreciated more than himself. I think I put mine down and they've never come to me. I don't even remember where that was. When I talked to the tarot director, he says, come to the office. I don't even know where the office is.
Right. Anywho, that's just how it was set up that I recall. I recall reading, if you sign up, you can get your yard done.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Well, I feel like as elders, you should come to us, ask us, do you need this, do you need this, and come check on the elders. I don't know how many there are nowadays of you, or where does elders start? At what age? Anyway, I just want you all to remember the elders are here, and when you're talking about everything, please include us in a way that we know you appreciate us.
Thank you for your comments, Leanna. And we will look into that, about where they're at and circling back around on the lawns and possibly, potentially see what's going on. I'm not for sure. I know that they've had some new contracts. They're getting into lawn care business, essentially, with the city of Pawnee, I believe. So that's good for them. But, yeah, if they need additional staffing, we'll see what we can do about that. Councilwoman Hare.
Yes, I wanted to answer Leanna's question about the number of elders that we have. And I want to, I'm glad this opportunity came up because I had looked at this enrollment report and I was very pleased with it on the breakdown that she gives us. And so elders between, Pawnee elders between 65 and 80, there are 443. And over 80, there are 96. In the city of Pawnee, we have 549, I think that's total members. And in the county, it says 589. That seems low. But in the state of Oklahoma, we have 2,217 tribal members.
Okay. Does it list the elders within the jurisdiction?
I can't tell.
Or am I just stating?
Yeah, that looks like too high a number. I think that's it sounds like the number of tribal members that live in Pawnee.
Oh.
Okay,
well, I appreciate that. At least we know, my goodness, there's a bunch over 80.
Yeah.
I don't know how many live at home now. That's something else to check into.
And if I could just interject real quick, I wanted to share with you, Miss Leanna, one of the projects that our front desk, Miss Erica Sun Eagle is doing is she's putting together a tribal directory of every single program we have under Pawnee Nation. And then we're going to share that with everyone. And specifically, we're going to break it up into items for elders, for youth, for bereavement, things like that. And so that's going to be coming your way. And the goal for that is for 2024 to have that directory ready.
Will it be a booklet?
Yes, it'll be a booklet. A booklet as well as online, because we know that a lot of people want something in their hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
With the burial thing, cemetery committee is just winding down our policies and processes, et cetera. The next item is going to do a punch list to who do you call?
Yes.
What do you do? Do you want this? Do you want that? That whole role, and we're looking forward to doing that. It was requested by a grieving family to me to do that, and so we've taken that task on.
Yeah,
So
that's great.
we're going to be working on that next. So just to let you know that that's coming. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for all of those comments.
And I believe Brian has.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, So real quick, I have one and then Brian has something.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Ann.
Cheryl came out finally and mowed my grass on Thursday, the first time this year. And I was so glad to see them pull into my driveway. Okay, like this. Okay. Thank you, Leanna. The 3 workers got out, and within about 40 minutes, they had done everything. Cut the grass, used the weed eater, and even the leaf blower or something. Anyway, they did a good job. And I'm very thankful. The next thing, we are having the 2nd annual Grandparents' Day dance on September 10th. It will be at the Roundhouse starting at 1 p.m. The Travelers will sponsor this event this year, and we would like to make it into an annual event. And of course, donations are welcome from everybody. And also, I have sponsored the birthday cake party for 3 months for any elder. The next one will be in July. If anyone has a birthday in June or July, please stop by the Pawnee Nation Elder Center and join us. And thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ann, and we're always appreciative to everything that the travelers do for the nation. Jennifer, did you have something for open forum?
So I have two things, and then Brian has something really quick. And mine are both requests for the PBC. The first thing is, since we have Madam President here, I want to make sure that our cadence for our meetings are still good. They're the first and third Tuesday of the month for our PBC general meetings at 4:30. Is that still going to work for the council? Okay. Okay, so is there a time that works, is the day still work good, the times? Okay. Okay, so what time would work?
They're done for the summer. Well, they're done for the summer. I mean, for now, I'm not for sure. I don't think they've come out with the schedule yet.
Oh, okay, so 5:30, does that work good for everybody? Keeping the same cadence, but moving it to 5:30. Okay, so we'll begin eating at 5 and then meeting at 5:30. Okay. Okay, that's that. And then, real quick, I had asked the PBC when would be a good time for a self-governance update. However, Laura May wanted me to share that the week of the 26th is when we all go to self-governance conference, so she would like to wait till after the conference because you'll probably have more questions or have more answers. Will that work? And then after the conference, I can touch base with everybody on when's a good time. How's that sound?
And self-government is really good with updates. They will bring you the latest updates.
Great. Okay. Okay, and here is, oh yes, also, we're being honored at that conference as a new tribe in self-governance, so it's going to be a really great conference. Okay, Brian has one question.
Hello, Council. Okay, so regarding the behavioral health, we are very close finalizing everything. One of the things that our consultants would like to do, I know it's been a while since we had our last meeting with PBC, but they wanted to do a refreshment course with all PBC because our last one we had was dated back June 10th of 2022. So we were looking around either June 19th or possibly June 22nd. And it could be in the evening. Just want to do a refreshment course. Nothing really has changed since we did our presentation back in June of last year. But when we get closer to closing, we just want everybody to have a chance just to ask any questions before, we finalize everything. So we thought it would be a great opportunity just to keep everybody in the loop with the financials and everything. So we would just like to see if we can schedule, probably an hour or so. It doesn't have to be a formal meeting. It could just be a Teams meeting where everybody just has a chance to see the financials and ask any questions as we get closer to closing. So either the 19th or the 22nd in the evening. Of June.
I'm not available on the 19th, but I am on the 22nd.
I'm the same. I have surgery on the 19th. 22nd in the evening, sound consensus? 22nd in the evening.
Okay, thank you. We'll get some.
Is that what the,
What is it?
There may be another meeting that,
In the evening?
so it's just for like an hour, you said, Brian, right?
Yeah, I think it'd just be an hour. I mean, if y'all have something where we need to meet during the day, like lunchtime too, we can do that. We're very flexible. I don't think it'll take more than an hour because nothing really's changed since what we presented back of last year. Just wanted y'all just a chance just to get refreshed with everything as we get closer to closing.
Brian, I would like to introduce you and your team to the American Indians and Psychology program at Oklahoma State University. We are going into our 26th year, and the goal is to turn out clinical psychologists at the PhD level. So they have in the meetings that we've had, our advisory meetings, it's I think some of our advisory board is becoming aware of this and they're getting really interested in it. So I think it would be a good way to recruit some staff and to work, have a working relationship with them if we can.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, okay, Dr. John Chaney is the one in charge, and I can connect you with him.
Thank you, Donna. That's a good idea. And I kind of want to, touch on that too, because we were talking about, whether or not the incorporators could meet. But I think this meeting is mostly geared toward the rest of the PBC, so that when these documents and everything are presented, that it's not so inundating and that you're trying to review everything all at once. So, and as we, review the documents and everything, I think it's, it would be good. Got you for the 22nd. Okay, anything else?
I lied. I do have one more thing. We're wanting to schedule orientation for the Pawnee Business Council. Now that we have Madam President in, this would be for the entire council. And this year we have changed it to where it's not on programs, it's of policies of Pawnee Nation, of how we work together. So is there 2 days that work well for everyone? We haven't come up with any days yet because we know that you guys have really busy schedules, so we wanted to hear from you. And we're looking at this month, if there's any time that works well for PBC.
That's just really aggressive.
Council, are there 2 days that you could recommend where you're available both days?
Or even July if we need to.
Yeah, I would recommend the first part of July
Okay.
after homecoming.
After homecoming?
Maybe we can send some dates into you to
Okay, that'll
look
work.
at,
I'll send an email out.
review calendars and look at, the first week in July.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Would that be during homecoming then, the week
No,
after homecoming?
Yeah, the week after.
Okay, I will be out of pocket from the 5th through the 10th.
Okay.
I would be more than happy to do it this month or any time other than those dates because I'm pre-obligated. Thank you. President Nuttle,
Yes.
can I go ahead? Are we
Yes.
done with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. I just wanted to take a minute just to say a little bit on behalf of my brother Herb Adson. Many of you may not be aware that our grandma Nora Pratt had some real old hand game sticks. They're over 100 years old. Well, after she passed away, our Aunt Tommy had those sticks, and we lost her in February of this year. And so her family has asked Herb to take those sticks. So he has Nora Pratt's hand game sticks. He's looking at himself, I think, more of a caretaker, if you will. And I'm probably speaking out without him knowing this, and he's probably going to be mad. But he is sponsoring a war dance next Saturday, June the 10th. It's called the Nora Pratt Skeety War Dance. It's just to acknowledge those sticks. So it should be a good day of tail dancing, noon meal. There'll be a noon meal and tail dance to follow, and we'd like to invite, Pawnee people, our Akitaru, to come in and enjoy that day. It's kind of a special day, really. If you look about it, it's for a specific reason. So we invite you, and hopefully we'll see you then. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements?
This is about one of the princesses, Cynthia, Haley, TV. Oh, camera's on. Hasn't been ready. She wanted the Oklahoma Youth Tour for the out of Stillwater, is it Central Rural Electric? It's the one out of Stillwater. She won the top prize. She will be meeting, we'll all be going to Oklahoma City on Friday, June 16th for the orientation, and there'll be a banquet that night, and then they'll be leaving the next morning, and they'll be gone for the week until June 22nd. So she won this one with the Rural Electric Company in Stillwater, but she was one of the finalists for the one with Indian Electric. So I just wanted you to know how proud I am.
All right, congratulations to Haley. Okay, any other announcements? If not, we'll move on to the next item, setting the next meeting date, and I believe that you had mentioned the third Tuesday, so that would be the 20th, I believe. So it'll be June 20th at 5:30. Is everyone in agreement with that? Okay. And if nothing else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Butler and Secretary Gardapi. We'll call for the vote.
Jordan Canujo? Yes. George Gardapi, yes. Carol Chapman?
Yes.
Cynthia Butler?
Yes.
Donna Hare? Gene Evans?
Yes.
Sammy Kimball?
Yes.
All right, consider yourself dismissed. Thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for the food. And we appreciate our communications person. All right, thank you.
12:16 p.m.